I'm Victoria and this is What Victoria Read. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 6th of March, she says confidently. It's 5:15 and it's still light enough for me to film, which feels like a genuine miracle. It's Sunday night, the boys have just gone, Gary's just taking Charlie back to his mum, and I've got 2 books to talk about because I finished one book and I've decided to unhaul, unread one of the other books from my TBR. So let's talk about it. So the book that I finished and very much enjoyed was The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the second in the Thursday Murder Club series. The third book I think is coming out in like September and I'm really looking forward to that. My lovely, wonderful mother-in-law Chris bought this beautiful hardback copy and we both read and enjoyed the Thursday Murder Club last year, and then this came out and she asked me if I had it and I was like, I'm waiting for the paperback because my Thursday Murder Club book edition is paperback and I can't have paperback and hardback in a series on my shelf because that's just a level of chaos that I cannot deal with. So she went ahead, because she's a normal human, and bought the hardback, read it and then lent it to me, and I read it over the last couple of days. This was so wonderful. Obviously it's the second book in a series. Can't say too much about the details of it, but we are following the Thursday Murder Club, who are a group of 4 70-somethings who all live in this kind of supported living retirement village type setup, and they form the Thursday Murder Club, where every Thursday they get together and they look through cold cases and then they try and work out what happened and try to solve them. And in the first book, an actual murder then occurs in their retirement village and they kind of jump into action and put their skills to use, and this is the second one. I really enjoyed this. I gave the first one 4 stars. I also gave this one 4 stars, but like a higher 4 stars. This is more like 4.5 stars. It's just written in this lovely, easy to read way. The characters are just a joy to be with. The mystery itself I think was a little bit lacking, and that's why I couldn't give it that full 5 stars. It didn't give me that full like sweep me off my feet 5-star feeling. I did spot the answer really quickly, and I felt like the characters that we met in the first book would have spotted the answer quicker than they did in this one. It felt a little bit far-fetched that certain characters kind of didn't see what was going on until like so far into the book, but they are just a joy to read, like I said, and they also managed to weave in like quite serious topics. Here comes Jack. Also Molly's up there, so she might appear any second. Quite serious topics. So the first book looked at grief and about the loneliness of being older. And this one looks at trauma. One of our characters is traumatized by something near the start of the book, and it's looking at what their recovery is like and what recovery is like as an older person, and the things that kind of help them and hinder them along the way. And he's a beautiful writer. I will definitely read the next one. I'm thoroughly enjoying this series. Not quite a 5-star, but really high rating. So thoroughly enjoyed that, would recommend. And then the book that I've decided to unhaul from my TBR shelf is Classic Victorian and Edwardian Ghost Stories. I bought this when I was in Hay on Wye. It's still got like sticker residue there. That's annoying. Last summer. And I don't really know, to be honest, why I picked this one up, because I've had a flick through and like read the introduction and I'm just not feeling it. I think I bought it because I was doing Telltale Heart with my year 8s, but that was like 2 terms ago now, and I won't teach it again till next year, and I've done it now, so I kind of don't need this anymore. So yeah, I'm going to unhaul this, and it's in perfect condition. It's a brand new copy, so this will go to the charity shop and hopefully somebody else will be really chuffed to pick it up. It's the 7th of March and I have decided to unhaul 2 more books. I don't know who I think I am this month, but there are books leaving my TBR super quick, and I've also had a gift pop through, which is amazing, and I thought I would open it here on camera. So the 2 books that I'm just going to unhaul unread, I don't feel bad about because they're the ones that I bought secondhand in Hay on Wye, and the first one of those is The House at Riverton by Kate Morton, and then, oh, there's a theme here, the other one is Transcription by Kate Atkinson. I've read the first 50 pages of both of these and they're just not grabbing me, and I'm really in that headspace where I'm like, I have so many other books that I am like desperate to read and excited to read. I don't need these. Plus this one is a heifer, it's thick, it is 600 pages and I'm just not excited, and it's one of those books that was on my like GoodReads TBR for a decade, and I think my reading tastes have just changed, so that one isn't going to be for me. That's going to go to the charity shop. And then this one, the Kate Atkinson, I'm kind of intrigued but like not enough, and World War II stories don't usually do anything for me, which is what this is. And yeah, I just read the first 50 pages and I was kind of like, meh. There's other things I'm more excited about, so that will also go into the charity shop. And then I thought we would open this together, which is very lovely, and I know it's from one of you guys because whenever anything pops through from my wish list, it has What Victoria Read on the label rather than my surname. So let's open this together. This came yesterday, but by the time it arrived I was deep into like Sunday night relaxation and didn't feel like filming, so I thought I'd open it today as a Monday treat because it has been quite the Monday. Let's see, I can see sprayed edges. What have I got on my thing that's got sprayed edges? Let's just find out. Okay, let's just open it. Let's do this together. Oh, I know what this is. Excellent. I don't even know who sent it yet. Hang on. Oh my gosh, look, the sprayed edges. I'm obsessed. This is Rainbow Grey, Eye of the Storm, which is the second in the Rainbow Grey series, and I read the first one last month or the month before and really enjoyed it, and it's got these gorgeous orange sprayed edges. I'm gonna have to get a copy of the first one with the sprayed edges. Let's see who's been an amazing human and sent this to me. Oh, Laura. She said, there's always a rainbow after a storm. Hopefully this book will be one of your rainbows after a tough experience, from Laura. Thank you so much. This is going to make me cry. I don't think I mentioned it here, but I had, well, as Laura kind of mentioned in the note, I had a hard thing happen on Friday at work, which obviously I'm not going to talk about because of confidentiality and stuff. But it was hard and I'm still feeling a little bit shaky. I'm okay, but yeah, it's just one of those things that happened. And Laura, oh my gosh, this is so kind of you. Thank you so very much. It's the 12th of March. I'm just checking I actually pressed record. Yes, I did. It's the 12th of March and it is such a beautiful day today. Clear blue skies, it's cold, it's my absolutely favourite kind of weather, which is really good because I have had a rubbish week. I touched on it a little bit in my last clip when I said that something had happened at school, which obviously I can't and won't talk about, but there was a second thing that happened this week and it kind of just pushed me over the edge. I ended up having a panic attack and then I had a migraine yesterday, which is Friday, so that is not the ideal end of the week. Any other teachers, any fellow teachers will know the guilt that comes with calling in sick, and I know other jobs have it as well, but there is, of all the jobs I've ever had, there is nothing like the guilt that comes from calling in sick as a teacher. Hello Moles, she's just here. Hi. Look, her fur's starting to grow back in finally. You going? Yeah. Yes, so it was a fairly rubbishy, or very rubbishy end to the week. However, slept most of yesterday and woke up today feeling a bit more like myself. I still feel a bit fragile. It's that feeling that I always get after a panic attack where like I feel like I am missing a layer of skin. So yeah, I'm still feeling quite sensitive, but we are going to go and see Grandma again today. We've been helping her with some stuff. I say we, Gary's been mostly doing it, and I've mostly been sat on the sofa eating biscuits and chatting with her. But she's got some like DIY stuff that she needs doing, so we're going to go over and this morning and do a bit more of that with her. I'm wearing my most obnoxiously bright jumper in an effort to make myself feel less rubbishy, because I feel like I don't think you can really tell, but like I feel like I look really like tired and stuff, so I'm trying to like pep myself up. I've used all my favourite products in the shower today, and I've used some of my skin stuff, and I'm wearing my obnoxiously bright jumper, which Gary always says makes me look like a refresher or a 90s TV 90s kids TV presenter, but I'm okay with either of those things. Right, I have not just come on to whinge about my week. I have finished 3 books, and I have hauled 2 books. So the reducing TBR thing's going really well. The first book that I finished was my reread for the month, which I was incredibly nervous to do. There are 2 books in my reread pile, and I'll put my reread TBR in the description if you want to see which books are in that pile that I'm really nervous about, and this was one. So I decided to be brave and read it this month. Also, it fits in with the Irish readathon, which I'm kind of sort of taking part in. Incidentally, there's probably loads of background noise in this clip. Gary's in the shower, the washing machine's on, and the dishwasher's on, so I've chosen a really good time of day to film. Well done me. I've also got the cats running around, so anyway, you're used to this kind of chaos. And the book that I have reread is The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, and I was really scared to read this a second time because the first time I adored it, and it's a book that just meant or means a lot to me, so I was scared to pick it back up. Thankfully, I loved it even more the second time. So it's still a 5-star. If I could give it 6 or 7 or 8 stars or 10 stars, I would. I just adore this book. There is something about the way it's written that just speaks to my soul. We are in Dublin in 1918, so we're during the World War I, and we're also during the Spanish flu. I think that's what they call it, or it's a flu pandemic. And weirdly, Emma Donoghue wrote this just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And it's weird because there are loads of things in here that feel like comments on the COVID-19 pandemic, but she wrote this just before, so I don't know if she's some kind of fortune teller. We are following, oh my gosh, what is the woman, what's the girl, Julia, who is a nurse. She's a nurse on a maternity ward, and she gets put in charge one day of a ward of women who are heavily pregnant, really far into their pregnancies, and they also have this flu, which is killing thousands of people. And we follow, I think it's 2 or 3 days in her life. And it's absolutely soul destroying. I ugly cry every time I read this. It's heartbreaking. It's beautiful. I find it weirdly uplifting. Massive content warnings for infant loss and miscarriage. There are also a couple of really graphic birth scenes, a couple of which don't go well. So if you have recently given birth, if you're about to give birth, maybe skip this one. And if that's something that you are either squeamish or find triggering, this is not the book for you. But if you can handle the subject matter, it's just gorgeous, and I'm so happy that I read it again and that I enjoyed it, because this is now definitely on my like top 10 books of all time list. So I finished that one. Then I finished 2 others, and it's not gone as well. The first book that I finished was The Castaways by Lucy Clark. I read this on audiobook, and I read was it You Let Me In, I think, by her at the start of 2020, which I loved, gave 5 stars. My boss lent me this one, and it was okay. Basically, we have got 2 sisters, perspectives from 2 sisters. One of them, what is her name? I can't even remember their names, which is bad because I literally finished this not very long ago. Okay, so we've got Laurie, who is the older sister, and she books a flight to Fiji, to this small Fijian island, because she needs to get away. Her marriage is crumbling, her life's falling apart, and so she books 2 plane tickets, one for her and one for her sister Erin, and they decide to go on this amazing tropical holiday. Laurie gets on the flight from mainland Fiji to the island where they're going to. Erin doesn't, because the night before their flight they have a huge row. Laurie gets on the flight goes down. And it's about what happens to her after that crash. And then we're also following Erin 2 years after the crash, still trying to search for her sister, still looking for answers, still grieving her, still dealing with all of the aftermath of that. And it was just okay for me. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't offensive or bad. I did think for a little while that we might have been heading towards It Was Just a Dream, but spoiler, it wasn't that. It just felt kind of average. The pacing was quite slow. The sisters I found a little bit annoying. The ending was just a little bit ridiculous. I feel like if you want just like an easy switch your brain off kind of beach read kind of thing, this might be the one for you. However, I wouldn't suggest you read this just before you get on a plane, because the description of the plane crash is really graphic. I am someone who is afraid of flying. I'm going to be flying on my own in April, which I will tell you about later. And I'm glad I wasn't reading this on that plane. Parts of it were beautifully written. She can definitely write, but this one just wasn't for me, so that was a 3-star. Also, content warning for discussions of infertility, miscarriage, and obviously death and stuff that happens, and the plane crash itself could probably be a content warning as well. So yeah, wasn't quite for me, that one. And then I read a classic. I read from an author whose most famous book I didn't enjoy, and I thought I will give another of their works a go, see if I can find a way in. But I've just come to the conclusion this author just isn't for me, because I read Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier and I was mostly bored. So I'm probably going to have to revoke my Booktube license and leave the Book-to-net. I read Rebecca in 2020 and thought it was really dull, couldn't get into it, do not understand the hype at all on that book. So I thought I would try to make it in, partly because I read the first part of the first chapter with my year 10s as part of their GCSE practice a few weeks ago, and I was kind of intrigued, a couple of months ago even, I was kind of intrigued by that opening, and I happened to have this on my shelf. I bought this second-hand copy when I was in Wales with Steph in August, and I was kind of intrigued by the opening, and then I gave it 3 stars, so it wasn't awful, I just wasn't that into it. We're following a girl, or a woman really, I think she's in her 20s, called Mary, whose parents die. Her dad died years ago, her mum dies, and she moves to Jamaica Inn to stay with her aunt and her uncle, and it's about what's happening at Jamaica Inn. And yeah, I just didn't connect with this at all. Parts of it are really beautifully written. I can understand why other people enjoy Daphne du Maurier. She just clearly isn't for me. So yes, this is me officially giving up with Daphne du Maurier, because yeah, I was mostly just a bit bored reading this one. And then the lovely Book Break sent me 2 arcs, which is very exciting, and one I'm really intrigued by, the other I'm really excited by. So yes, the first one is Vladimir by Julia May Jonas. This one is about an English teacher facing a whole load of kind of Me Too accusations against her husband, and then she's also got her own kind of dark sexual secrets, and I'm really intrigued. It comes out on the 26th of May, so I'll be reading it soon. Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by this one. The American cover, I've just watched Jessie from Bowties and Books' recent book haul, and they showed the American cover for this, which is just awful. I don't understand how that decision was made. I much prefer this one. I will link obviously Jessie's book haul, the descriptions, really great video, but they were talking about how the cover, the only way they could read that book was to take the dust jacket off, and I totally agree. I feel like this one's a much better cover. I'm not sure if this is what the final English cover will look like, or if it's just the arc, but that one came through. And then I received an arc of a sequel of a book that I've thoroughly enjoyed a few years ago and I have reread since, and that is The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. This is the sequel to The Miniaturist, and I'm genuinely a bit shocked that it's actually in my hands. I've read almost everything that Jessie Burton has written at this point. I think the only one I haven't read of hers is Medusa, which I would really like to read. And I can't even really tell you much about this, because even reading the blurb on the back would give you spoilers for The Miniaturist. So all I would say is it's picking up, I think, 18 years after the end of The Miniaturist, and we are following some of the characters from that book. It comes out on the 7th of July. I think there's going to be a reread of The Miniaturist done by Book Break on their Instagram, which I would always recommend that you go and follow. And I'm not sure if I'm going to join in on that or not, because I reread The Miniaturist I think last year, so I don't think I need to reread. But this comes out in July, so I'll be reading this probably in May or June. But it's so pretty. I don't want to show you the back because, again, I don't want to give accidental spoilers, but I'm obsessed with this colour green. It's just beautiful. So that's kind of my bookish update. As always, I'm being a rubbish vlogger because I'm either at school working really, really hard, or I'm at home being really, really tired. But the sun is shining. We're going to go and see Grandma. Might get a cheeky McDonald's on the way home. It's the 14th of March and I actually have 3 books to talk to you about since the last time I filmed a clip, but I'm not going to do that just now. It's Monday. In my faculty, my English faculty at school, there are 3 of us who are full-time and then 2 part-time English teachers. And of the 3 full-timers, I'm currently the only one who has not tested positive for COVID. So today, as you can imagine, has been a day. And like I said, I do have 3 books to talk to you about, but I came home to this, which is a parcel from the amazing Chloe at Chloe Reads Books. And I knew this is from Chloe because she texted me a picture on Friday when she was at the post office posting this. So I'm literally just jumping on so I can open this on camera. I can't show you this side because it's got my address on it. But I just wanted to open it on camera because I have no idea what's in here and I'm very excited to find out. So let's have a look together. So let's try and do this so that my address isn't... So, okay, she's packaged it, like, very carefully. I'm so intrigued to see what is in here. Ah, look, she sent me... Oh, let's hold this up. This is what it looks like. That's so cute, and it's really nice wrapping paper. Okay, so on the front it says, and relax, and then she says, just because, keep being you. Victoria, love, Chloe, which is so cute. And it's even got this, like... Is this one of the stickers that she uses for scrapbooking? But it's got a black cat on it. I love it. This is definitely going up on my wall in my classroom. And then there are oh my goodness, there's 2 things in here and they're in this beautiful, oh, this feels like sweets. This beautiful wrapping paper. This is so sweet. Thank you, Chloe. Right, let's see what this is. I almost don't want to rip the paper. And like, Chloe would keep it for her scrapbooking, but I'm not that clever. Ooh. Okay, let's see what this is. Ooh, what is this? Jolly Jamboree. Oh my gosh, it's pick and mix. I've just realised that my brain's just caught up with what's happening. This looks really good. So it looks like we've got like some licorice and then some like jelly sweets. This is very, very exciting. So we'll definitely enjoy those. And then this, I don't think it's a football. Shall we say that? Okay, let's open this together. What have you sent me? Oh, you know what this is? Oh, this is very exciting. This is Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw, and hilariously, oh, she's also put a bookmark in. This is one of her Patreon bookmarks, so I'm very honoured. And that's a really good choice because I love tulips. It's really funny because I was going to ask her if I could have this or if I could buy it off her, because I saw recently she gave it 3 stars, so I knew she would be unhauling it. And I really enjoyed The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw a couple months ago, so I'm really excited for this. Does it have like a... Oh, well, that's very beautiful. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Chloe. So there's this and a bookmark and the lovely postcard. Thank you, Chloe. I have been completely spoiled. I do not deserve it at all, but I really appreciate it, so thank you. The 19th of March and I'm back surrounded by books. You've got a sneak preview of my April TBR, which I've already chosen, although by the time this video is up that will be up, hopefully, so I'll link that in the description if it's live now. And wow, what a week. And I know I say that every single time I sit down to film a clip, but COVID has really done a number on our school this week. We have had about a third of the teaching staff away, which is obviously not ideal. We had to close year 10. They had to work from home Thursday, Friday because we didn't have enough teachers on site to safely teach them. And I've got windows open instantly because now spring has sprung, which I'll talk about in a minute. And of the 3, I can't remember if I've already said this, so I apologise if I'm repeating myself, but of the 3 full-time members of English staff, we've got 3 full-time and 2 part-timers. Of the 3 full-time staff, I'm the only one currently testing negative. So yeah, you can imagine what my week's been like. Plus, it's just been a bit sad in the English block because there were days where it was just me. I was the only teacher teaching in that block and it was like the Mary Celeste. So yes, it's been a bit of a week. but it's the weekend now and spring has sprung, spring has arrived. It's kind of been arriving slowly over the last couple of days, which has been glorious, but today I've woken up and it is bright blue skies. So we've got Charlie this weekend and I've asked the boys to please build my hammock for me. If you were watching, and yes, I got 2 t-shirts on. It's beautiful, but it's still cold. If you were watching my vlogs last year, you'll know that we have this gorgeous rainbow striped hammock, which I basically live in from the end of March until September. And if you haven't seen it, I will link probably like a June, July or August reading vlog in the description so you can see it if you want, although you'll probably see it in this video if you keep watching. I'm properly rambly today, for which I apologise. So the boys are going to build the hammock for me. So it's now about 9:30 and I've just spent the first hour of the day out in the garden. We are in a new build property and our garden, to call it a garden is probably a bit grand. It's a little postage stamp of earth that belongs to us. So I've just been out and like pulled all the weeds and sorted out the pots and watered everything. I am not a gardener, just to be completely clear, really not. But I've got a few pots and I've kind of just like taken out all the weeds that were choking my actual plants and watered everything and tidied it up and cleared away quite a lot of cat poo, particularly from the front garden. So that was delightful, but it now feels like it's kind of more ready to use, and I've put like the garden furniture out and the grass desperately needs a cut. So if there is a shot of the hammock in this video, please don't judge the grass because it's not been cut yet, and even when it is cut it's rubbish quality because we live in a new build. So yes, that's what I've been doing this morning. I do have, and didn't just come on to waffle about gardening and COVID, I've got 4 books to talk about. So 3 that I've finished and 1 that I've DNF'd. I'm on a roll for DNFing this month. I don't think, no, up there is my like stack of read books of the month and I've got my DNFs next to it. So now had 4 DNFs so far this month. I don't know what's going on. However, I'm happy to like clear out the stuff that's on my TBR that I'm not excited to read, because that's a good thing. Okay, so the first book that I finished is We Had to Remove This Post by Hannah Bervowitz. Here, terrible person because I don't know how to say it. This is an ARC that was sent to me by Book Break. This comes out soonish, I want to say. It was some point in March, that's why it was like higher up on my TBR. It's already come out. It's a Dutch author and it's been translated. Does it say when it comes out? No, it doesn't. If I can find it, I'll put it in the video description. So this weird little novella was sent to me by Book Break in exchange for an honest review, and we are following Kaylee, who is a content moderator. So she works for a social media company. It doesn't say which one, but it's kind of obvious who it's based on. And it's her job to go through the absolute worst things that are posted and decide what should stay and what needs to be removed. And she starts this new job and we basically follow her and her, I think she calls it a cohort, like the other people that start at the same time as her. And we just follow her down the rabbit hole basically. And obviously this was super dark. There are so many content warnings for this. I don't even know where to begin because she's watching clips of animal cruelty, including someone who is playing with the body of a dead animal. Just, you know, extremist stuff, really extreme pornography, all of that stuff that you would expect is in this book. So don't pick this up if any of that would trigger you. I gave this 3 stars. I really liked the first kind of 50 pages and I was intrigued. I think it's a really interesting setup, but I think it's too short. And I don't often say that because, as you know, I don't read long books, but this was less than 200 pages. Yeah, it's 130 something pages. It could definitely have done with another 100 because the beginning is really good and it's quite slow burn. And then the ending like really suddenly happens and it was like, whoa, I just felt like we needed a bit more to just kind of really follow where the ending goes to. So yeah, I didn't quite connect with it. There was something a little bit distant about the writing style as well that I didn't quite click with, but it's a strange little one, and if you're at all intrigued, I would suggest you pick it up. Obviously check the content warnings first. So that was a 3-star. I then picked up Venus and Aphrodite, History of a Goddess by Bethany Hughes. This is one that I picked up completely at random. This was a total cover buy, and you can see why. When I think this is when Charlotte and I went to Oxford. I think this is one of those. Either that or it was when I was in Hale and Wye with Steph. One of those, that glorious couple of weeks last August. And this is non-fiction and it's very much what it says on the tin. It looks at Venus / Aphrodite. The Greeks called her Aphrodite, the Romans called her Venus, and the history of her as a goddess. And I really liked the way it was written. Like, the writing style was engaging, but I gave it 3 stars, and I'm sad because it's so pretty, but I probably won't be keeping this because it's a 3-star read. Can I keep it? No, I don't think I can. Because it felt really surface, and it also assumed that you had a certain level of knowledge, which I don't have, which is obviously not the writer's fault, but I was expecting it to be just a lot more detailed and in depth, and it felt like it was skimming over the top of things. And yeah, I don't do 5-star prediction videos. This book is one of the reasons why I don't do that, because I would have put this on a 5-star prediction list and it was a 3-star, so it was a little bit disappointing. I feel like if you already have knowledge of Venus / Aphrodite and this whole kind of period, then maybe it would be useful, but if you're a beginner like I am, this did not go as deep as I wanted it to. So that was a 3. And then this morning I have finished an arc of We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lange. This came out on the 3rd of February. I'm a very bad booktuber to have not read this before it came out. Now Molly's scratching the door. Coming in? Hi. I'll shut this because we can hear the washing machine going. She's like, I just need to check what you're doing at all times. She's so funny. Right, I finished The Brennans. We Are the Brennans. I really enjoyed this. This is a debut novel. I've given it a very solid 4 stars. Hi, do you want to come? She's like, what are you doing? She's looking at me like that with her head on one side. This is a debut novel. I will definitely read more from the author. So we are following the Brennans, this family, and we start with Sunday, who is the daughter of the family. She's in LA and she causes a car accident because she drink drives. And her brother, her oldest brother, gets a phone call to say that she's been in this accident, and we find out she's not been home for 5 years. And he persuades her to go back home to New York, where the family have got family home and they're all living there and everyone's kind of in and out of each other's lives. She's now trying to hunt something under the thing, and I've realised that my camera's shaking because of the washing machine downstairs. I'm so good at this. Should I just hold this? No, that's not going to make that better. Let's put something underneath. This is where everything falls over. Does that help? No, because it's just shaking. Okay, hang on. I think we're just going to have to live with it. Sorry about that. So she goes back home, basically back into the fold of the family, and we uncover a load of kind of family secrets. So I really enjoyed this. However, it is not a thriller. I've seen a few people kind of, or marketing suggesting it might be like a family, like a domestic thriller. It's not. It's a family drama, and it's definitely kind of the literary fiction end of that, but you just get to know the Brennans, everything that's going on with them, and there are some family secrets, but it's not like a thrillery kind of family secret, if that makes sense. Yeah, I thought this was really good. Need to give a content warning for miscarriage and murder. I think that's it for the content warnings, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I would definitely pick up more from the author, and it was a solid 4 stars from me, so would recommend. And then the DNF, I feel really bad because this was a book, I should have said that was sent to me by Book Break as well in exchange for an honest review, and then I was sent this by the publishers and I was really excited to read it, picked it up, and then I was bored senseless. And that book is How to Think Like Shakespeare by Scott Newstock. This was sent to me by the publishers at Princeton University Press sent this to me, and it sounds like it's exactly my kind of thing, because it's looking at what we can learn from Shakespeare and apply that to teaching, which obviously sounds like it's going to be right up my street. I picked this up on audiobook because it's unscribed, because it's a short little kind of it's a short little book. It's 100 and something pages. Picked it up on audio and I listened to the first hour, so the first quarter of it, and I was just so bored. I wasn't taking it in at all. So sadly, that was not for me. I feel like other people might get more out of this. It was just too academic and too dense for my little brain. So yeah, that one didn't work for me. But I have finished 3 books this week and taken another one off my TBR. So that is something. And now I'm hopefully going to go and get in a hammock. It's the 20th of March and I have weird hair and I'm wearing this cat t-shirt again. But I've got 2 books to talk about, and also this weekend did not go at all to plan. So literally 30 seconds after I finished recording that clip of me in the spare room talking about books and stuff, I went out onto the landing and was confronted with the fact that Charlie had tested positive for COVID. So that was fun. He's okay. He's got a sore throat. That's his only symptom. We tested him because he was going to be going for a haircut at the local barber's, and one of his glands was up, and ever since he's been a tiny child, anytime he gets sick his glands come up. So did a test in a kind of, oh, just in case, and it turns out to be positive, which is why testing is so important. So yeah, that obviously threw our entire weekend out of whack. Because Gary and I then tested, we were negative, so we then had to isolate Charlie from us, which is a very weird thing to do. Thankfully we are privileged enough to have space upstairs where he could be comfortable, so he had his bedroom, and he also had the spare room as his kind of like lounge hangout space because it's got a sofa and desk and stuff in there. So he hung out in there all day, well, all weekend, playing video games. He doesn't usually get that much access to screen time in our house, so I think he actually quite enjoyed it. But it was super weird that he had to be on his own, and like we had to wear masks and stuff when we went near him to bring food and things. So it's been a weird weekend. He did also go out in the garden on both days, but it was weird. So yeah, don't be fooled by the highlight reel that I think you've just seen of clips. Obviously none of that is fake or staged. God, my hair, I don't know what my fringe is doing. It seems to think we're in a 90s boy band and I'm really not into it. Yeah, it's not fake or staged, but obviously I don't show Charlie, and yeah, so there we go. But we did have roast. I did get in the hammock, which Gary put together for me yesterday, and I have done some reading. So I finished 2 books, one of which I only started yesterday. The first book that I finished was The Golden Couple by Gray Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This is obviously an art copy. It comes out, I think, on the 30th of March, the 3rd of March. I stand corrected, so it's already out as I'm filming this. It will definitely be out by the time you see this. And this one is a thriller, and we are following a couple who go to therapy because the wife has had an affair, and we're following the wife from the couple and the therapist. And the therapist has some very unique strategies, and she's also recently lost her license. So it kind of goes from there, and I don't really want to say anything more than that. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was really enjoyable. Every time I read a Sarah Pekkanen Gray Hendricks book, I really enjoy it. The Wife Between Us was their first one, which is on my reread TBR for the year, and I've also read You Are Not Alone, which was okay. I didn't enjoy it as much as this one and Wife Between Us, and I haven't read Anonymous Girl, which is the other one, the only one of their list I've not read. It's really enjoyable. It was well paced, had some good twists in it. I think it wasn't a 5 because of the fundamental problem that it was horrible people doing horrible things to each other, and I always struggled to care because I couldn't really connect with anyone. There wasn't anyone I really had any sympathy for, except for the couple's son. Like, they've got a small, like, 8-year-old boy, and we don't get his perspective. So I think that's usually why I can't give 5 stars. Also, a couple of the twists were a bit predictable. Maybe it's because I read too many thrillers. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good kind of easy, switch your brain off, read it kind of story. I'm going to give a content warning for Death of a Spouse because that's one of my big triggers. And Charlotte read this first. She also read it this month, but I think earlier in the month or last month or something. And she texted me and was like, heads up, this happens. This is part of the plot. And I'm really glad she warned me because it's one of the things, if I know it's in a book, I can deal with it. But if it like jumps up and surprises me, it usually throws me off balance. So be aware of that going in. But yeah, it was clever. A few twists and turns. Not as clever as I remember The Wife Between Us being though. But we'll see if I think the same when I reread that at some point this year. But anyway, finished that one. That came from Book Break, so thank you very much, Book Break. And then I picked up The Glass House by Eve Chase. I bought this when I was in Hay-on-Wye with Steph back in August, and I know that because it had a bookmark inside it, which is now upstairs from one of the Hay-on-Wye bookshops. And I picked this up on a total whim and I was really excited to read it. And then it's one of those books that sat on my shelves, and every time I've looked at it, I've almost unhauled it a couple of times because I felt like it was going to be really dense and slow. And then I picked it up yesterday and I was like, just read 50 pages and see what you think. And I read 210 pages in one sitting yesterday. And then I finished it today. I read it in 2 sittings. I really enjoyed it. So we are following a nanny in the 70s who goes to the summer house of the family that she's nannying for. There's a fire in the main house, so they move to their house in the woods, and a baby is found in the woods, and then a dead body turns up, and it's about that. And then it's also in present day, where we've got a woman whose mother has just had an accident and is in a coma, and gradually you start to work out how the 2 stories interlink. And I just thought this was really cleverly done. It sort of reminded me of The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. It wasn't as good as that because that's very high praise. It's one of my favourite books of all time, but it had similar vibes. And I was just really captured by this story. I've never read an Eve Chase before that I'm aware of, but I'm definitely going to look for more of her work because, again, a little bit like this one, it was just kind of that one of those easy books to just sink right into and read quickly. So yes, I gave it 4 stars. I couldn't give it 5, mostly because there is body shaming in this book, and part of it is that some of it's set in the 70s and it would be opinions of the time, but the present day stuff, it was just annoying. And like Charlotte always describes it as like a stone in her shoe, and every time it happened I was just like, that's just unnecessary, we don't need that little detail. So that was kind of irritating. And also, although it's really atmospheric and the house that they go into in the woods is like really creepy and something's just off, I could not get a grip on the time period. It felt like we were in the 1940s rather than 1970s, and I had to keep reminding myself that we were in the 70s. So I had a little bit of trouble with that, but I did enjoy it overall, and I will definitely be searching out more from this author. It's the 26th of March, it's Saturday, the sun is shining, I've got a weekend with my husband, life is good, we've got 2 more weeks of term, there is so much to do before the end of term. I don't even really want to think about that just now. I've had a much better end of the week. My colleagues are back now, and it's just that like feeling like I can breathe again, and like not having my boss there, even though she was like on the end of text and email all the time. I just feel like my safety net is back in place. And also because they've been off, like all of our curriculum has kind of got a bit wonky and we are way behind where we need to be. But like after several discussions with my boss this week, I feel much better about what I'm doing, and I feel like I know what direction I'm going in with each year group and all of that stuff. So it's been a hectic week as always, but I feel calmer about it all, which is nice. Charlie is also now testing negative, went back to school yesterday, much to his disgust. So yeah, equilibrium has returned briefly. Gary's birthday is on Tuesday, and I'm very excited about that. I haven't actually wrapped a single present for him yet because I'm a terrible wife, but I'm going to wrap those this weekend, so I will show you a bit of that, because by the time this goes up, his birthday will have passed, so he will know what I have planned for him. So I'm very excited about all of that. Today it is absolutely stunning weather. It's been beautiful all week. My classroom has windows on 3 sides, which is glorious because it's just full of light all the time, but obviously when it's hot it gets really hot in there. Like the summer term is unpleasant in that room, and this week already I was like, oh, a bit warm. I mean, obviously I wasn't wearing a massive like cozy jumper. So yes, have been like, my room used to be the drama studio, and it's got like the big blackout curtains, so I've been like gradually fighting the sun all the way around the room every day and just like trying to shield. And the kids are like, Miss, why are you blocking the sun out? I'm like, because the sun brings heat. It's already too warm in here, you're already whinging. If I didn't have the blinds shut on that window, you'd be whinging even more. So yes, that has started. But today's beautiful, and we are hoping to get out on the motorbike today. Plan is, because it's Gary's birthday on Tuesday, to either ride out somewhere and get a cream tea, or if we can't find anywhere that's open, we will go to our favourite deli and get lunch and bring that back. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, we were going to go out on the bike, but Gary's not feeling great this morning, so we will see what happens. Either way, spending 2 days with my favourite person, so that is all to the good. I'm in my filming setup. I was supposed to film this morning and I just don't feel like it at all. So I'm going to film my April TBR, which will also be up by the time this goes live, so I will link that. I'm going to film that and then call it a day, and then film again in 2 weeks, because then I'll have enough content for my TBRs to go up Wednesday. This video will go up next Sunday, a week tomorrow, and then I can film on the following Saturday to put a video up Sunday. So yeah, I'm taking my own advice of don't film when you don't feel like filming. So that's all the stuff that's happening. Cats are absolutely loving life because we've got the windows open. They love jumping in and out. Tomorrow's Mother's Day here in the UK. My mum is spending time with her mum, and I don't have time to get like there and back in a day. So we're going to go and briefly see my mother-in-law tomorrow morning and have like cake and stuff, and then we get Charlie back next weekend. So there might be a little something for me then. Don't know, don't want to presume. So that's all of that, and obviously I've arranged flowers and stuff for my mum. So that's all happening, and that's pretty much the update. I've got 2 books to talk about. One I finished reading and one I was sent and arrived a couple of days ago. So the book that I finished was The Thief on the Winged Horse by Kate Mascarenhas. She's also the author of, here it is, The Psychology of Time Travel. Are they not just so beautiful? I'm also quite obsessed with how they look together. Like I know I have a rainbow shelf, but I now kind of want to put these next to each other. This is one of my favourite books of all time. I've read it 3 times now, I think, and given it 5 stars every time. This was her debut, so I was a bit scared, and so I left it quite a while to read this one. This is one that I bought when I was with Charlotte in Oxford, and I just decided, I saw it in one of the bookshops. I think it was in like a 3 for 2 deal or something, and I was like, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna just read it, because it's that thing of like, I loved the debut so much, what if this doesn't live up to it? This didn't quite live up to it. However, it's still stunning and I really enjoyed it. I read it on audiobook in the end because I found it on Scribed, and I'm kind of glad because, can you see? Yeah, this spine, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, is really, really cracked, and it's slightly like caved inwards. Yeah. Because that's what I do to books, whereas this is now beautiful and pristine and can go on my shelf because I read it on audio. This is a weird one, and that's her kind of MO. This is about a family called Kendricks who create magic dolls, and the dolls, when you pick them up, they evoke a certain feeling. So whatever the emotion the sorcerer has put onto the doll is what you feel when you hold it. And it's generations of this family, and you've got the 4 sisters who started it originally, and we are several generations down. I think we're in modern day Oxford, and they've been going for over 200 years, and it's just about this family and stuff that happens, and a new man comes to their village, and it's about what happens from there, really. And it's weird. It's kind of a mystery because a really famous doll gets stolen, really valuable doll. So it's trying to work out who's stolen it and why. You're also trying to work out who this guy is that's arrived on the island. It's set in a fictional like island within Oxford, and you're also trying to work out what's going on with a couple of the main characters. We've got Persephone and Hedwig, who are our 2 kind of female leads, and you're trying to work out what's going on with them. It was odd. I gave it 4 stars because it's beautifully written. There's a lot of, it's very feminist. There's quite a lot of different kind of character perspectives. We've got queer characters in here. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting like the story of the 4 sisters and it to be kind of witchy or magical, and it wasn't. So yeah, gave it 4 stars. I'm still not quite sure what I thought of it, but if you enjoyed The Psychology of Time Travel, I would still recommend this. And if you like literary fiction, I would recommend this, especially if you like literary fiction and or family saga, I guess, then I would recommend this. But it's a funny, quite quiet, quite slow little book. So that was that one. And then Book Break sent me this, and I can't remember if I requested it. I've got to start writing down the books that I request for Book Break. It's because like usually when the email pops through, I'm usually sat in my car in the car park at work about to leave, and I just read through things and then I go, yes please, yes please, yes please, and then send the email, and then I drive home and forget all about it, and then books arrive. It really is magical. The book that they sent me is Brown Girl Like Me by Jaspreet Kaur. And this, as it says on the front, the essential guidebook and manifesto for South Asian girls and women. And can we just first of all enjoy this cover, which is completely stunning. And then on the back it says, every day brown women are resisting, challenging and thriving, but where are their stories? Where are the ordinary stories of daughters and granddaughters, women like us? Brown Girl Like Me is the essential guidebook on how to deal with growing up brown, female, marginalised and opinionated. Brilliantly researched and expansive, this book explores topics as diverse as mental health, periods, cultural appropriation and love. It is a powerful manifesto for the empowerment of brown women and girls everywhere. And obviously this is not my experience. I am in no way an Own Voices reviewer, but I just saw it and I just thought, I now remember requesting it. It sounds really interesting. It's not my lived experience, and I always want to read books that have a different perspective to mine. And also as a teacher and an educator, I want to understand more, but I also want to find more books that I can put into the hands of people who might need them. So I'm really excited for this. Thank you very much, Book Break. This is out. This is a finished copy that I was lucky enough to get hold of. Once I've read it, I will, if it's suitable for the school library, I will put it into my school library. If not, I will put it into the hands of somebody who needs it. But yeah, I'm really intrigued and quite excited to read this. I don't know anything about the author. Oh, there she is on the back. Also known by her online handle Behind the Netra as an award-winning spoken word artist, history teacher and writer from London. So I feel like you're going to be in safe hands with somebody with that kind of CV and experience. So yes, very excited to give this one a go. So thank you, Book Break. And now I am off to spend time in the sunshine with my husband. And it's the 2nd of April and I'm coming in to wrap up this wrap-up vlog as usual, because as usual I am a terrible vlogger during term time. Don't think I'm much better during the holidays, to be fair. However, just coming in, I've got 2 books that I finished, 1 book that I DNF'd, which was a TikTok sensation, so I probably have to hand in my Booktube card, and a book that I've hauled, and then I wanted to obviously give like end of month stats and stuff. So it's been quite a week. We've had like all the seasons. We had really lovely hot sunshine. I spent some time in the hammock. Didn't get to go out on a bike ride with the husband though, because I had to stay in and do my marking like a good girl. And then we've had snow. So Thursday, so a couple of days ago when I'm filming this, we had snow flurries on and off all day. It wasn't enough to stick and like the ground was wet and stuff. It was just enough to wind the kids up, so they were basically at fever pitch all day. But yeah, we've had snow, and then now it's just really cold again. Beautiful day today, blue skies, but it's definitely chilly outside. So there's been that. We had Gary's birthday on Tuesday, which we are celebrating with the family today. So my entire house is in disarray because we've actually not had visitors since Christmas. So I'm cooking a roast, even though it's a Saturday, which feels a bit weird. And we've got stuff happening with that, but you will see that in April's wrap up. So yeah, I think March on the whole was better than February. I feel like my brain is feeling a bit better, and I think the longer days and the more daylight is definitely helping, because we had the clocks change last weekend, so the days are longer, and that's definitely helping. I think also it's the fact that I was looking at my calendar the other day, my teacher calendar, and I was like, wow, we are well over halfway through the academic year, and it feels like we've kind of broken the back of it, so that's nice. And it's not that I'm counting down to the summer holidays, because I love my job, but I am counting down to having 6 weeks off, because that's a nice perk. But yeah, I feel like I've kind of hit a rhythm, which is nice. So books that I finished, the first book that I finished was The Club by Ellery Lloyd. This came out, I feel like this came out on like the 31st of March. So by the time you see this, I'm late. This is, yeah, 31st of March just came out, so it's out now when you see this video. This is the second book from Ellery Lloyd, who are a husband and wife writing duo. They wrote People Like Her, which I enjoyed last year, gave it 4 stars. I also gave this 4 stars. This is also around a private members club called Home, and there are half a dozen clubs across the world. They are for the richest and most elite people, and the owners decide to open a new club on an island, on a secluded island off the coast of somewhere. Actually, I'm not sure if we're told it's just off the coast of England, I think, somewhere, or is it Scotland? I can't remember. And basically over the opening weekend we get multiple different perspectives and people start dying, and we know at the start of the book that someone is trying to drive across the causeway as the tide is coming in, and they've got someone in the passenger seat next to them who is hysterical, and the waves are basically the water is rising. So you know from the very beginning at least 2 people will die, but you don't know who and you don't know how they got there, which is really cleverly done. And I really liked how the reveals were done in this. I feel like we met various people along the way. Like I said, there's different perspectives, and it's kind of that interesting thing, almost like Cluedo, where you realise actually how everybody is connected. On the surface they look like strangers, but they're actually not. So yeah, I thought it was good. My only problems with it, reason why I didn't get 5 stars, I feel like the pace slowed down sort of in the middle section, which I think is the same issue I had with their first book. And also, much like their first book, this is horrible people doing horrible things to each other, and as I've said before, that's always a trope that I struggle with, and as someone who loves to read a thriller, it's often a problem I have, because I don't care if people die, because I don't like them. And there was a little bit of this with that, and I also felt like the ending was really rushed. There was all this build up and then suddenly it was over. So I still enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars, would recommend it if you're looking for an easy kind of switch your brain off type thriller. Thank you very much to Book Break for sending that to me for review. And then my last read of the month was Lark by Anthony McGowan. I read this last year. I will probably read it every year for the rest of my teaching career. This was the year 7 text for this term. I think I've got a cat trying to get in the room. And I read it to them, so I've literally read this thing out loud. It's short, it's about 100 pages, yeah, 110 pages. And we're following Nikki and Kenny, who are a pair of brothers who decide to go on a lark or an adventure onto the Yorkshire moors with their dog Tina one day. And what was supposed to be just a bit of fun turns quite dark when things start going wrong. It starts to snow, it gets dark quicker than they expected, and things kind of take a turn. And I absolutely loved this. I really enjoyed it when I read it last year, but getting to read it with my year 7s was even better this year. Absolutely loads to talk about and discuss. You've got themes like poverty, parental neglect, mental health. Kenny has learning difficulties, so it's all about how it's told from Nikki's perspective and how Nikki kind of helps guide his brother through the world. You've also got the adventure side of things. They've also got a dog called Tina with them. It does have some swearing in it, so just be aware of that if you are reading it to younger kids. My year 7s are 11 and 12, and it's probably just about for their level. And it is quite sad at the end. Made us cry as a group a couple of times, but I absolutely adored this and obviously had to give it 5 stars. Then on the other side of things, end of the scale, I DNF'd The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, which has been everywhere, and as I said, is a TikTok sensation. 15 million views on TikTok, whatever that means. And I read the first 100 pages, got bored and put it down. I did request this arc because it sounded like my kind of thing. So it says the world's best magicians accept the opportunity of a lifetime. 6 are chosen, only 5 will walk away, and that's all I'm going to say. And it's kind of dark academia. It gave me like When We Were Villains, If We Were Villains type vibes. I can never get the title of that book right. But I got to the 100-page point and I was bored and I didn't want to pick it up, so I DNF'd this. So apologies to Book Break. Sorry I didn't actually finish this and review this. This just isn't for me. It's too dense. It was, again, like horrible people, and I just didn't care. And unlike The Club, there wasn't enough pace to kind of pull me through. It was too slow. It's the start of a trilogy, so the author is clearly doing loads of world building, which is going to be important, but I just didn't care, so I DNF'd that one. And then a book that I've hauled because I enjoyed Lark so much, the kids at school, my kids recommended me Kensuke's Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo, and when I say they recommended it, they were offering to lend me their own copies, bless them. So obviously I said no thank you, and I ordered my own because I don't want to take their books off them. And I really don't know what this is about. It says, I disappeared on the night before my 12th birthday. Washed up on a desert island, Michael struggles to survive on his own. With no food, no water, and only his dog for company, he curls up to die. When he wakes, there's a plate beside him of fish, of fruit, and a bowl of fresh water. He is not alone. So yeah, they recommended this to me, I think because there's a dog in it, like there's Tina the dog in Lark. So yes, I'll be adding this to my April TBR, which is up, so I will put that in the description. I will add this in, and this will be my reading at school book. So yes, bless them. It's got a very cute cover. Okay, let's do stats and then wrap this wrap up. So in March I read 12 books, which is great. I read 3,604 pages over the month, which is 117 per day, which is the least I've read all year so far. But did I have any holiday in March? No, I didn't. So that's probably why. Star rating was a 3.75. It was kind of a meh month. I had a lot of 3 stars, as you can tell from that average rating. And like very few books that I was like really excited to read. But I feel like it's been successful because I've cleared a lot of books off my TBR, because I also DNF 5 books. And yeah, I feel a lot more excited about the books left on my TBR now. So take from that what you will. My favourite book of the month, I can't choose my rereads for favourite book of the month, so I couldn't choose The Fault in Our Stars. The Fault in Our Stars? No, that's the John Green book. I couldn't choose The Pull of the Stars because that's a reread, and I couldn't choose Lark either because that's a reread. So I had to go for a book that I gave 4 stars, but it was still the one I enjoyed the most in the month, and that was The Man Who Died Twice. What are words? The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, which I can give back to my mother-in-law today when she comes for lunch. I thought this was really fun. I've ordered myself the paperback, which I think is coming out in April time, so I can have it in my collection. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this, and I'm excited for the 3rd book that's coming in September. And then my most disappointing was Venus and Aphrodite, because I was just expecting a lot more from it, and also how beautiful is this cover. But I can't keep it because I only gave it 3 stars. So that was definitely my most disappointing read of the month. And then TBR was, at the end of February, it was 70 books, and we're now down to 62, which is not bad going. So although I've had books come in, and obviously I've read 12 books and then DNF 5 others, I've still managed to end up, did I say it was 70 at the end of February? Yes, 70. So we are 8 books down on my TBR and headed towards that 50, which is kind of my, like, in my head, my goal. I would like to keep my TBR around 50, so I've got some choice, but like not an overwhelming amount. So yes, that is my month. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I've tried to put in like as many cat clips and stuff as possible because I know people like those and I like having them for record. And I hope you've enjoyed some book reviews. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit unsure about doing wrap-ups this way and vlogging. I'm not sure if it's getting a bit repetitive. Let me know. Try and kind of be nice about it, but yeah, I would really love some feedback if you wouldn't mind. If you got to this point in the video, leave me a shell emoji, just because this cover is, honestly, it's so beautiful and I really want to keep it. No, it got a 3, so it's going. But yeah, leave me a shell emoji if you got to this point in the video. Please subscribe if you'd like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.